standest alone. Twixt Burnley and Clitheroe, Whalley and Cole, where Hodder and Ribble's fair waters do meet, with Barley and Downer.
It's 1612. This is Pendle in the county of Lancashire. I'm a young local woman of a few material means, and I'm a Catholic, and for that I'm just about to be hunted down and executed.
Shall reign to the end of all time. In beauty eternal thy banner unfurl.
In this turbulent time, King James I was at the throne and had just published his works Demonology, a guide for hunting down those suspected of practising magic. The lines between religion and witchcraft were blurred, and superstition was rife. Lancashire in England's northwest had long been held up as a Catholic stronghold and was thought to be a dangerous and lawless land. And if you were a local magistrate intent on serving your king, then this was the perfect place to bag yourself a witch. The villages of Pendle in the northeast of the county are dominated now, as they were then, by Pendle Hill, which kind of shadows everything around it. I actually grew up in a village in this area, and even on the sunniest of days it has an almost dark and brooding presence. Imagine then when Pendle Hill was covered in forest. The villages at its feet were wild and inaccessible, and dwellings often remote and lonely places to live. Two rival families, led by the matriarchal figures of Demdike and Chattocks, strike fear into local people who believe them to have special powers. They are said to use herbs and potions to cure ills or throw curses. Today we may have just seen them as healers or herbalists, widowed women trying to make their way in life. Yes, some of them might have been mischievous, intent on making others suffer some of their hardships. Or were they, quite simply, as a lot of people think, just devoutly following their religious beliefs? Ultimately, though, as we know, they came to a tragic end as they were sought out and sent for trial at Lancaster Castle in August of 1612. Despite being one of the most famous and well-documented witch trials in the world, the tale of the Pendle witches still remains a real mystery, and it is perhaps for this reason that it still has huge impact on the area, its residents and its visitors. I went to meet Mike Williams, tourism team leader for Pendle Council and Pendle witch expert. So Mike, tell me. There are lots of rumours surrounding this group of women. Some say they were healers, some say they were just old women who like to cause a bit of havoc. Some say they were Catholics. There's a lot of mystery still surrounding it, isn't there?
Well, they were all women, that's for sure, but there were women who had a few talents. They had obviously knowledge of local plants, and obviously in those days you couldn't just go down the chemists. You had to go and have some advice from women who were wise, and that's what the word witch actually means. If you go back to the Anglo-Saxon, it's Wicca, which is wise. They were wise old women who knew all the plant remedies, and they got caught up in this religious persecution, like at the time with James I on the throne, and local magistrates were looking for somebody that stood out in society, and they fit the bill pretty good. And so they were arrested, they were questioned by the local magistrate, Robert Noel, and it started from there, really.
Why do you think that the story still has so much resonance and impact today in Pendle?
Well, it's there are still people around who, as I say, who are related to the witches at the time. I mean, Alice Nutter's not, born and bred not far from here. He's lived here, and there's plenty of people that would claim that say that's part of my family and it's part of my family history. So there are connections there, and there are local people still living there who have those connections. So definitely there's a resonance in the local community.
And the tourists just love the story, don't they?
Oh, absolutely, they're fascinated. It's such a great story. We're coming up on a really big anniversary. I mean, obviously 2012 is the Olympics as well, Olympic year, but we've got our own special occasion here. I mean, the 400 years, that's a tremendous amount of history, and it goes back. what we're trying to do is develop a Pendle Witches Festival, which will go from this year 2010 into 2011, a lead up really to the big celebration, which will be Lancashire wide.
Andrew Turner and his family run a holiday cottage business from Malkin Tower Farm, the site once thought to have been home to the notorious Demdike family. It is here that the infamous Good Friday gathering was held, where those locals suspected of witchcraft are said to have met to feast on stolen mutton and plan to blow up Lancaster Castle to free their already imprisoned cohorts. Much of the evidence which sent them to the gallows came from this very encounter. Andrew is keen to prove the link once and for all by excavating some newly found ruins. So Andrew, this is a really stunning setting.
It is, yes.
Do you really believe that this was the home of the witches?
I do, yes. I think it was always this side of the hill rather than down in Rough Lane.
And it's the notorious Demdike and a family who was supposed to have lived here, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. Demdike and a daughter, Squinting Lizzie.
What a fantastic name.
Yeah, that's right.
And these ruins that we can see behind us, you actually believe that was Demdike's house, don't you?
I do, yes.
And are you planning to perhaps excavate a little bit more?
We're hoping to actually have them excavated for 2012, which is the 400th year anniversary of the Pendle Witches. So hoping really to actually get them excavated by then.
So this story is almost 400 years old, and yet it's still having a massive impact on your business today, isn't it?
It does, I mean, we have visitors from all over the world. I mean, today we've actually got people coming in from Australia.
I suppose in some ways then, in this day and age, we've got quite a lot to thank those witches for, haven't we?
We do, yes. Yes.
Nod our caps to Demdike.
That's right.
Old Pendle, thou standest alone.
Whether you think of them as malevolent people possessed by supernatural powers or innocent victims living in a time obsessed with the punishment of witchcraft, one thing is for certain: they still have the power to lure visitors to this wild and beautiful landscape.